And Wally's behind a glass sheet of glass, and with the engineer. And Wally would say, "All right," and Frank was just standing there, ready to say his lines, and you hear. And Wally goes, "Bill, what's this feedback coming from?" "I don't know. It shouldn't be." So now he's checking his dials and stuff, and now it stops. Okay, are we ready to go? All right, this is scene 4. Take. And it would just go on and on like that. I mean, he would also do. He also does a microphone out. I don't do it nearly the head, but he can do it perfectly. A microphone cutting out. They have the engineer running back and forth all day, checking the connections. I mean, you know, it's always fun to torture the engineer, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, there were great times. By the middle of the series, there were so many characters that we would have needed a room this size to record one of the episodes. So what they finally ended up doing was, Wally had a PA system installed, and when you were not being used, you would go into the waiting area and you would wait to be called in, because sometimes there were 25, 30 different people in the cast that week, and the room only accommodated probably comfortably, 7 or 8. So we would be out waiting to be called in, and that was almost my favorite time because, and this is still unbelievable to me, we had Scatman Crothers with his guitar serenading us with scat songs, just song after song after song. And I can still remember, to this day, I remember thinking, my God, I'm being paid for this. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Anyway, I don't want to bore you with a bunch of stuff that I have to say, so I'd like to hear from you and see if you have questions that you'd like answered, and I'll be happy to do that.
Hey, sorry about that. It's good to see you again. I met you at OTFCC in 2000, I think, was it 3 or 2004?
I don't remember that far back, I'm sorry.
It was one of these conventions down in Chicago.
I barely remember this morning earlier.
Okay. I was wondering if you really kept up with all the fame that the renaissance that Bumblebee has gone through since 2007. I assume you did see the live-action movie, and if you watched animated as well?
I did. I've seen the animated series. In fact, a good friend of mine, Sue Blue, directed the animated series. Obviously, those of you who've seen it, it's very different from what we were doing. It's much more cartoony. It's a whole different direction. And I have seen the movie, and I thought the movie was terrific. I mean, I thought the CGI was unbelievably great. The fight scene between Megatron and Prime was just out of this world. So yeah, I've kept up with it, and it's really unbelievable the way this thing has grown and grown and grown, and it seems to be getting bigger every year. It's really quite remarkable and very gratifying as well.
And I was just wondering if you had another particularly interesting or amusing anecdote to share with us, just in general.
An amusing anecdote?
Well, just about working with all those guys.
Yeah, I got one for you. All right, I got one for you. This is a Frank Welker one too. About midway through the series, I guess we were around episode 30 or so. Wally decided to put together a sound library for each character. Consisting of grunts, groans, hits, reactions, because so much of the show was action that we'd spend so much time going, oh, ow, ow, ee, ooh, ooh, that he decided to put together a whole library of those sounds for each character, so he just plugged that in so we wouldn't have to be constantly doing that. And I got to tell you, one of the greatest days of my life was standing next to Frank Welker, watching him perform every sound a human being could make, and some that they could never make. It was just unbelievable. It was a lesson in itself. So that was probably my favorite day on Transformers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
First off, I want to say I started